What's happening, people? It's REUX or Rux, and I'm a recent UX design bootcamp graduate. So today I'm going to be doing a review of my bootcamp experience with CareerFoundry. And for those of you that don't know, CareerFoundry is an online school that's aimed at job/career changes, and the idea is that through a range of practical project-based exercises and learning, that you'll learn the soft and technical skills required to land yourself a job in tech. So with all that said, I guess we can get started.
That's good.
First, we'll start with the structure. So CareerFoundry offer three main programs, and that's in UX design, UI design, and also front-end web development. I did the UX design bootcamp, which is supposed to last about 5 months, working 40 hours per week if you do it full time, or about 10 or 11 months if you study part-time for about 15 to 20 hours per week. Of course, I went with the part-time option because I was already working full-time and I needed to continue doing so in order to cover the course fees, living expenses, and just my general existence on the planet. So I started the course in April, so just over a year ago now, and it began with an intro into UX design course, which lasted about 4.5 or 5 weeks. And the way the course works is that you'll be given some reading, usually lasting between 35 minutes to an hour, 1 hour 20. At the end of the reading, there'll be an assignment, which would basically just be a practical application of the theory that you've just been reading about. After the UX intro course is the UX immersion course, which takes a deep dive into all things UX. And when I say a deep dive, I mean a deep dive. Like, it was looking at everything from conducting SWOT analysis, creating business requirements documents, competitor analysis, utilizing the design thinking process, as well as learning all about the tooling, the design software, and all the practical things that come with UX as well. And yeah, it was really intense. The UX immersion course took me about 8.5 or 9 months. So of course, it is the real meaty part of the whole program. And during those 8.5, 9 months, there were times when it was really overwhelming because, of course, it's a new, well, at least for me anyway, it was a completely new subject area. And there's going to be parts that you like and parts that you struggle with a bit more. But you're paired with a tutor who has about 3 years industry experience and sort of marks every assignment that you submit and helps you through it to get the best quality work that you can produce, and also just to be a comforter and motivator when you're having a bit of self-doubt. And I really appreciated that part of the course. So after the immersion course, you're actually now certified in UX design, but with the program you also get another further specialization course where you can decide either between UI design, front-end development for designers, and also voice interface design. I went with front-end development because I've always been interested in coding, and because you get as well another mentor to help you through it, I felt that that was the best time. Okay, so now we'll look at the ups, mainly the reasons why I chose to study at CareerFoundry and the highlights while studying there. So firstly, the main reason I chose to study at CareerFoundry was the job guarantee. And the job guarantee is basically CareerFoundry saying that we are so sure of our program, the quality of learning that you'll get, and the fact that you will have all the skills to land you that job in UX design, that if you don't actually manage to get a job in the 6 months after graduating the program, we'll actually give you all of the money back. So with hopping onto the job guarantee part of the program, there is a job specialization module which basically prepares you for the job search period after graduating, and that unlocks about 6 months into the program. It was a really good and thorough course, it looked at everything from motivations, like the type of company you want to work for, what your values are, and like how to make your job search more targeted, as well as all the like more process things such as writing a CV, a good cover letter, interview preparation, networking, and just everything in between. And to be honest, I think the course was so good and transferable, not just to applying to jobs in UX, but applying to jobs in general, that I'm kind of surprised they don't offer it as a sort of separate course in isolation by itself. But yeah, with the course you're also paired with a career specialist, which is basically like a recruiter that talks you through each stage of the job application process. And yeah, you can schedule as many calls as you want with them, and yeah, they're basically cheering you on, not like most recruiters that ghost you. Okay, so the second reason I chose CareerFoundry was the price. The two boot camps I was deciding between at the time were CareerFoundry and General Assembly, and General Assembly are arguably a lot more well known than CareerFoundry, but that's also reflected in the price. And I think at the time General Assembly were charging double the price of CareerFoundry. So thinking about CareerFoundry being half the price and also coming with a job guarantee, it just didn't make sense for me to apply for General Assembly. General Assembly being about £10,000 and CareerFoundry being about £5,000. But at the time, I set up a call with a salesperson at CareerFoundry anyway, just to ask them more questions about the course and get a little bit more detail, just to make sure I was making the right decision. And at the end of the call, because it was a salesperson, she offered me some money off anyway, so I did get it a little bit cheaper. So don't be afraid to call them up and have a chat. Otherwise, I do have actually a referral code that I can leave below, and that would give you 5% off the course fees anyway. It is an affiliate link, which means that I would also get reimbursed as well. So it's a win-win for both of us. And the third factor I considered when deciding between the different boot camps was the learning style. So I think General Assembly is live classes with dedicated times and slots that you need to commit to. Because you're in a class, you're paired with other people, and it is really interactive and really engaging. Whereas CareerFoundry, as I mentioned, is an online school, so it's all through reading, video presentations, and basically a really self-paced program. Because I was working full-time, and just some days where I knew I'd come home, be in the mood to study or just not in the mood, and I didn't really want to commit to sort of such a fixed, rigid schedule. So that's why I went with CareerFoundry, because you do have the autonomy to sort of do the course in your own pace. Of course, as I mentioned before, it is meant to take about 10 or 11 months studying part-time, and what happens is that there's a suggested amount of work that you should do each week. It's completely up to you if you want to have a month of just smashing it all out or going at a steady pace with about 2 assignments a week. Finally, the last thing I took into consideration when deciding whether to go with CareerFoundry was the mentor and tutor pairing that comes with CareerFoundry. So I think I've hinted at this already in the video, but basically with CareerFoundry you're paired with a tutor who has at least 3 years experience, and what the tutor does is they review every single assignment that you submit as you're going throughout the program. And you're also paired with a mentor who has over 8 years experience, and you can set up calls with them to answer any industry questions, get real insight into what the world of UX is like, help with interview prep, and generally just guiding you as you're making your way through this whole new field. So I got paired with a really good tutor and mentor, and I don't think I've actually spoken to anyone who didn't like their tutor or mentor. No matter who you're paired with, I reckon you'll have a great time. Okay, so now we'll take a look at some of the downs or things that I think should be made clear before deciding to go with CareerFoundry or any bootcamp in general. First is the commitment. So as I mentioned with CareerFoundry, you're expected to study about 15 to 20 hours a week on the part-time course. And of course, working a full-time job, which is about 40 hours a week anyway, this is a lot of spillover into your evenings and weekends. And I think the commitment that a UX bootcamp takes shouldn't be underestimated. Luckily for me, or I don't know if lucky is the right word, I have just done the whole bootcamp during the pandemic, which means that the usual evening activities and socialising that would happen hasn't really happened because of lockdown. So that has freed up a lot more of my time to fully dedicate myself to this UX bootcamp. But I think if I was taking a bootcamp in a post-pandemic or pre-pandemic world, that I would have struggled quite a bit to manage. Motivation is a big factor that also needs to be considered as well. You're learning so much about UX and you can't possibly fall in love with every single aspect, or maybe you can, but for me there were some parts that I was more interested in than others. So when it came to learning about these other parts, at times it could be easy to sort of push it to the side and have a week off here or have a week off there, but being really self-disciplined and motivated, I think, is really important to ensure that you do make it to the end of the course, because no one wants to pay the extra fees that come with extending the program. So if you think that you're someone that doesn't have the self-accountability or self-discipline, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, it just means you have a different learning style. But if you are one of those people, maybe a more live class where you're paired with a group of other people would be a better route for you. Another thing that should also be made clear is the projects that you work on at CareerFoundry. So with General Assembly, for example, you work on real projects with real clients, which is of course really good for your CV, because you can show that you've applied the UX design thinking and UX knowledge and technical skills that you've gathered to a real world client, and it does beef up your CV a bit more. Whereas with CareerFoundry, the projects you work on are all fictional. So the downside of that is that it's not real commercial experience. However, because of the job guarantee that comes with CareerFoundry, I don't think it really hinders you that much, because you're able to go deep into the UX design thinking principles. And the fourth thing that should be considered, which might be quite niche, is the specialization course. So I went for the front-end development course, where you basically learn to code your own portfolio website from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I think the difficulty of the front-end development specialization course should not be underestimated, especially after you've just spent 9 months learning about the whole UX design process. That having to climb this whole another mountain that you signed yourself up for was really hard for me. But because I had a mentor as well during the course, it made it a bit easier, and because I knew that the finish line was there, now I look at my portfolio website and I'm so proud that I done that myself. But if you're not particularly interested in coding and just want to do it because you think it would look nice on your CV, then I would suggest you pick one of the other specializations. So finally, we've got into the key takeaways. So I think the key things to be mindful for when deciding between the different UX bootcamps are: 1, the learning style. Do you want to work at a fixed pace with fixed classes and fixed deadlines and just a fixed program? Or do you want a more flexible approach? CareerFoundry is the latter. You have the 10 months to finish the program, but you can really take it at your own pace. Study the hours you want, whether that's 3 a.m. in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's completely up to you. Secondly is the type of projects. Do you want to work on real commercial projects with real clients to get more of a feel for what the UX role would look like in the real world? Or do you want to work with fictional projects but still take a really deep dive into each of the areas of the design thinking process? So third is job guarantee. Pretty self-explanatory. Do you want sort of a guarantee on your investment? Because these UX bootcamps aren't cheap, and yeah, you could get to the end, not feel comfortable or confident in securing a role in UX, apply for loads of jobs and nothing comes of it. Whereas with CareerFoundry, your investment is secured. And fourth thing is that you should do your own research. So while this video is a good guide between at least CareerFoundry and General Assembly for me, I would say that there are so many different bootcamps out there. Honestly, from £1,000 or £500 to 5,000 to 10,000, just so many different things on offer that, yeah, just continue watching videos like this, finding out what exactly is perfect for you, and hopefully securing the right bootcamp. So, in conclusion, if you ask me, would I recommend CareerFoundry to other career changers or people wanting to learn a bit more about UX? I would definitely say yes. I would say it's a huge commitment, 15 to 20 hours a week part-time for 10 or 11 months, but the knowledge, the learning, the technical skills that I've got from it, yeah, I can't really compare to anything else that I've done. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I remember at the time when I was deciding whether I wanted to study at CareerFoundry, I could not find any videos at all, so I'm hoping that will have helped someone else make their decision. Thank you for watching, and here's to you and starting your UX journey.
That's good.